top of the video, your girl is back again with another story time. If you know my channel, hey girl, hey. And if you're a returning subscriber, I don't even gotta say nothing because you know what's up, I know what's up, we know what's up, and that's on what? That's on period. And Mary had a little lamb. So as y'all can see by the title, today we're gonna be doing a story time. But y'all, this story time is a little different. I'm gonna be doing a get ready with me story time. Really, I'm gonna just be doing like my makeup because y'all, I just have on like a plain white t-shirt and I don't got no pants on because I'm not going nowhere. But y'all, hear me out. I cannot multitask for nothing. Like, I just can't do it. So this is gonna be like a voiceover story time and y'all gonna watch me beat my face. I got one more disclaimer. I am not a mover, an MUA, or whatever you call it. So y'all might see me use 2 sponges and 1 brush to beat my whole face. And I don't need nobody commenting saying, oh, that's unsanitary. This girl, mind your business. I'm not a mover. I'm not an MUA. I'm just showing y'all how I beat my face. So just don't do too much. But without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this video.
Before I get into the story, I do want to let y'all know all the products that I use will be listed down below in the order that I used them. So this story time is going to be about the time I got my manager fired. Y'all already know in order for any of my story times to make sense, I have to give y'all a little backstory. Y'all know I worked at Chick-fil-A's on FAMU's campus. If you're new here, this is not a normal Chick-fil-A. This is a hood Chick-fil-A. This was a ghetto Chick-fil-A. Erase everything you once known about Chick-fil-A. Like, just erase it out of your mind. This Chick-fil-A did not say my pleasure. The way they greeted the next guest was, next guest, next guest. They didn't say my pleasure. Like, our rules and policies were totally different, y'all. We didn't have a full menu. This was a hood Chick-fil-A. This just was not the regular Chick-fil-A. So now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a little backstory. So we're going to go ahead and name this manager. I was thinking Moon Pie, y'all, because I'm a little hungry. But we're going to go with Polka Beans. So I met Polka Beans working at this Chick-fil-A, and this was the manager that trained me. On the first day, I had already knew what type of person he was. Like, you know those guys that are like super pretentious, and they just think everyone want them, and they just think they hot shit. Basically, this is what type of guy Polka Bean was. Like, he was just very confident, and y'all, he really looked like Scooby-Doo, and his breath smelled like calamari. Like, he was not all of that, but he just was very confident about himself. Like, he would always check himself out. He would always compliment himself. He would basically make it seem like everybody wanted him. And y'all know, I'm cute. Chick-fil-A put all the cute people in the front. So I believe we had 4 cash registers in the front, and I was one of the girls that was in the front. So my first couple weeks there, he was basically training me. I'm lying, y'all. I didn't go through training for weeks because, like I said, this was a hood Chick-fil-A. So I probably was trained for like 3 days on the cash register, and I believe they trained me in the back on the fries. So when I first got there, I can already tell that he was trying to talk to me, but he wasn't really vocal with it. Like, I would just catch him looking at me, and he would just make little sly comments, but it was nothing crazy, y'all. So if you're not familiar with FAMU, they do have this thing called Set Friday, and it's basically when sororities and fraternities and different dance organizations on campus, it's like a big barbecue, like a big cookout they have every Friday. There's food, there's vendors, there's music, and we're just dancing and having a good time. And usually I would work on Friday, so I would never be able to go to Set Friday. But for some reason, y'all, I was off this Friday. I don't know why, but I was just off this Friday, and I came to Chick-fil-A, and Polka Beans was working at Chick-fil-A this day. And if y'all know me, I look completely different out of my uniform. If I could find a picture of me in my Chick-fil-A uniform, I'm going to put it in this video. So the way I look in my uniform and the way I look out of my uniform is 2 different ages. Like, in uniform, I'm probably like a solid 3. On a good day at work, I didn't really wear makeup. I would fill my brows in. But y'all, I didn't really do a whole lot. And we had to wear those little hats. So your girl really wasn't giving her full potential in uniform. But when I didn't wear my uniform, y'all, I was a solid 8. And nobody at this Chick-fil-A knew this unless they see me outside of my uniform. So I came up there one Friday, his Set Friday. You know, I'm lit. I'm with my friends. I go up there and I go get something to drink. And Polka Bean is there. And when I see him, he sees me, we make eye contact, and y'all, he's like checking me out or whatever. So he rings me up, he gives me my food and my drink for free, and he was just like, dang, I ain't know you had it like that. So I just smirked or whatever. I told him thank you. And that was that, y'all. So the next time I came into work, Polka Bean was on my body. Like I said before, he already kind of made it seem like he was interested in me, but he wasn't really vocal about it. Like, he would compliment me and be like, oh, you smell good, you look pretty, but he wasn't really pressing me. But after he had seen me out of my uniform, y'all, he was really pressing me. Like, he was asking me on dates. He was always making comments about my appearance and just being real flirty. Like, he would tell me my butt looked nice, or he would just make comments about like my appearance, y'all, and it would be extreme. I did want to mention that Polka Bean wasn't that much older than me. At this time, I believe I was a sophomore in college, and he probably was like I think he was like 2 grades ahead of me. So he was either, I think, a senior, or he was like a graduate student. I really don't remember, y'all, but I know he was probably no more than like 2 years older than me. And I also want to mention that most people that worked at the Chick-fil-A, they were students, and we were all between the age of like 17 and 24. There was a couple managers that was like 30 and up, but majority of us was students, and we were scholars, y'all. So bam, we at Chick-fil-A. Polka Bean, he's just really on my body. He's really pressing me every time I come into work. He's always commenting about how I look, and he's just, he's just on me. And after a while, it kind of got annoying, y'all. At first, I would just like smile it off. I would say thank you, and I would just keep it moving. And I do want to mention, y'all, at this time, all of my managers thought I had like, how do I say this without getting demonetized? My managers basically had the perception of me that I was promiscuous, and I would have my legs open, like not just open, y'all, but like wide open. And they had this ideal of me just simply because, like I mentioned in another story time, I was really friendly, y'all. I was one of those Chick-fil-A workers that was like really friendly. Anytime somebody would come to my register, I would hold conversation with them. I would compliment them. I would tell them I like their hair, I like their shirt, I like their shoes. I'm just a talker, y'all. I'm big on talking. And if you came to my register and you were a guy and I thought you was cute, baby, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I would be talking to them a little longer than what I should. So my managers and a lot of people that worked at this Chick-fil-A, they had this this perception of me that I was just promiscuous and I would just talk to any and everybody. And if y'all haven't seen my other story time on how I almost fought my manager because she made a comment about me being promiscuous, make sure y'all check that video out. So bam. So while I'm working at the Chick-fil-A, like I said, Polka Beans is on my body, and eventually I'm kind of just getting tired of it because it's just like, dang, every day I come into work, you making comments about my body and you just saying a little smart stuff. He would compliment my face every once in a while, but 90% of the time, y'all, the comments he would make were just very inappropriate. It wasn't something that a manager should say, and I just wasn't feeling his vibe. So eventually I became more aggressive. Like, when he started to make little comments about me at work, I wouldn't say thank you anymore. I would just be like, boy, bye, like, get out of my face or whatever. So eventually he started to catch my vibe, and he started to notice that I was becoming a little rude and a little standoffish or whatever. So y'all, he started not to like me. And like I said, at this Chick-fil-A, when a manager does not like you, it is the end of the world, y'all. It's hell on earth, because they would start showing favoritism and they would give you all the jobs that no one wanted. Exhibit A, no one wanted to take out the trash. No one wanted to be on trash duty. No one wanted to be on lobby duty. No one wanted to be working in the freezer. Like, it was just certain jobs that no one really wanted, because some jobs were embarrassing, y'all. Like, we are on a college campus. I'm wearing this ugly SpongeBob SquarePants uniform, and no girl wants to be seen taking out the trash around her peers. So like I said, Polka Beans, he started sending me to do like lobby runs all the time. He would send me to do trash runs when there was like other males that worked at this Chick-fil-A. All the girls would work front of the house, which was usually the cash register, and usually the males would work back of the house. But he was sending me on like trash duty more. He would make me wash the dishes more. And then eventually, y'all, I started to talk back. So one day he told me to do something, and I told him no. I basically was just like, no, I'm not doing it. I really wish I can remember what he told me to do, y'all. It probably was the dishes. Like, we used to Was it the dishes? I don't remember exactly what it was, y'all, but he basically told me to do something, and I knew he was telling me to do it out of anger. He wasn't telling me to do it because it needed to be done. He was basically trying to be petty, and he didn't want to see my face, and he didn't want me to be in the front socializing with everyone. So he sent me to the back to either wash dishes or squeeze lemons in the middle of the shift. So I basically told him no. So when I told him no, y'all, he was just like, you can go home. And at this time, I was no angel, y'all. My mouth was real smart. My mouth did talk back, and I was out of line. But I was just like, bye, bye. And y'all, I clocked out. And I left because he told me that I could go. And I'm not going to lie, that really hurt me, y'all, because deep down inside, I needed them $7.40. I really needed that money. But like I said, I was pissed, and I was just tired of him sending me to do the jobs that no one wanted to do. So I clocked out, and I went home like 2 hours early this day. And the next day I come in, well, I don't think it was the next day, but whenever I had another shift, y'all, I came into work and I got called back to the office by another manager. This manager, I believe it was a supervisor. She was over him, and she basically had a letter, and she was like, Asia, I'm writing you up. Do you know why you getting wrote up? So I'm just like, you writing me up? Like, for what? And she was just like, Polka Bean told me that you went home early last night. You went home 2 hours early. So we have to write you up for like insubordination or something. So I'm just like what? So they're like, yeah, because you signed off on this, that we did a coaching and that we went over this with you. And after like 3 write-ups, I think you get terminated, y'all. So I'm just confused, and I'm going back and forth with the other manager. I'm just like what? What are you talking about? He told me that I should go home. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, he told you to do something, and he told me that you said no and you just clocked out. So later on that day, the other manager, Polka Bean, he comes in. I confront him, and I'm just like, why did you tell the other manager that I just clocked out and went home? And he was like, you did. And I was like, you told me to go home. He was like, no, I said you could go home, but I didn't tell you to go home. So now, y'all, I'm pissed. I don't even want to be there. I'm ready to clock out again. But I just bite my tongue. I hold it down. I get through the shift. And after this, me and him, we still had a lot of animosity towards each other. Like, it was still a lot of unsettled beef. But like I said, he was my manager, and I needed my $7.40. So your girl continued to go to work, and I just continued to go to work, y'all. And I did my job. But I tried to avoid him at all costs. So a few weeks after that situation, one of my other coworkers, they come up to me and they're like, Asia, don't take this the wrong way, but you need to be on your best behavior because Polka Bean trying to get you fired. You're going to be out of here. I've been hearing a lot of talk about you getting fired and they trying to get rid of you. And if you get one more write-up, you're going to be out of here. So I'm like, what? Who told you this? And he was just like, I can't tell you who told me this, but I heard through the grapevines that they trying to get you out of here. They want you gone because you just real rebellious and no one really likes you. So I'm just like, okay, thank you for telling me this, but inside, I'm thinking like, it's not gonna happen, y'all. I do want to mention that Polka Bean was a very unprofessional manager, and he basically would do things the way he wanted to do things. I do want to mention, y'all, that he was a student, so if he wanted to study that night or he had the test the next day, he basically would close the Chick-fil-A early. If he wanted to go to a party that next day, or if he wasn't in a good mood, y'all, he would just do things that he wasn't supposed to do. And this was like a well-known thing. He wasn't the only manager that did this, but he was the only manager that I knew that was trying to get me fired. So, y'all, I was on his tail. So it would be plenty of nights where I believe at this time Chick-fil-A closed at, I want to say 10 o'clock. Chick-fil-A closed at 10 o'clock. And we would probably be there until like 12 o'clock after they close, because we have to take all the parts down, undo the ice cream machine, wash that out. We have to wash dishes, we have to sweep, we have to mop, we have to clean the grills out, we have to clean the fryers out. It's basically just a whole process, y'all. It's like a whole process in order to close a restaurant at the end of the night. So we will be there an additional 2 hours after the restaurant actually closed, but not when Polka Bean Bean worked. When Polka Bean worked, if he had something to do that night, y'all, Chick-fil-A will close at 10 and all the workers will be gone by 10:15. And y'all probably thinking like, Asia, that's not possible. Like, you're over exaggerating. Like, how is that even possible? But y'all, if you went to FAMU, you can vouch for me. I'm pretty sure it was plenty of times where you went to Chick-fil-A or you had just got out of band practice and you thought you was finna get you a good meal and all they told you all they had was Coke and French fries, and we ain't have no more fillets, or we ain't have no ice cream because they closed the machines down at 9:30. And if that was the case, y'all, Polka Bean probably was the manager working that shift that night. So he would do this all the time. He would do this all the time, and everyone knew he would do this, but no one really cared. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I personally didn't care until he got on my bad side, because I wasn't trying to be in there all night either, y'all. I was ready to go home just like everybody else, but it's just like, I heard you trying to get me fired. We gonna see about that, baby. I'm gonna get you fired before you get me fired. One particular night, Polka Bean was not in a good mood and he wanted to get us out of there early. He just wanted to go home early. So I remember it being around like 9:15 and Chick-fil-A closed at 10 o'clock this night. I think during the week they closed at 10, and I think on Saturdays they closed at 9. So Chick-fil-A was closing in 45 minutes, y'all. A customer comes in and he was just like, can I have a number one? I believe a number one is like a Chick-fil-A sandwich, fry, and a drink. And Polka Bean was like, our fryer machines are off. We don't have no more fillets, and all we have is I think we didn't even have lemonade, y'all. Y'all know how good Chick-fil-A lemonade is. All we had was Coke products, and that was it. Coke products and fries, y'all. So he was just like, dang, I need a burger. Like, the cafe is closed. I'm really hungry. Is there any way I can get a grill sandwich? So Polka Bean was like, the grill is closed. That's all we need. So, y'all, I proceeds to go ahead and try to make him something. I think I proceeded to make him nuggets, and all the grills and everything was turned off 45 minutes before Chick-fil-A was actually closing. So I was just like, no, this is not right. I'm not doing this. We need to turn on this grill and we need to get him something to eat, because this is literally not right. Like, what the hell? This boy back is touching his stomach. He hungry. He wants something to eat. And we closed in 45 minutes early. This is not right. So me and Polka Bean, we going back and forth. I'm arguing with him. I'm letting him know that he unprofessional and this is not right. And we not doing this. Like, turn on the grills. Like, this is mad early. Like, this is too early. He was just like, oh, I'm not trying to be in here all night. I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to go home. If you want to be in here, you can go home. Go home now. I'm like, you want me to go home? You want me to go home? He's like, yeah, this time I'm telling you to clock out. Clock out. So, y'all, again, I'm furious. I go ahead and clock out early that night. And the next day, I go to the supervisor. I was going to go to HR, but I was like, let me see what they do about it in-house. So I basically go to the supervisor and tell them that Polka Bean has been closing early for the past few months, and he's turning off the grills at 9 o'clock, and we close at 10, and we've been getting out of here at 10:15. And y'all, he was a ghost. Like, he disappeared. Like, poof, he was gone. And that's pretty much the story time on how I got my unprofessional manager fired. At the time, I kind of felt bad. I did it anonymously. I didn't go around telling people that I got him fired. But y'all, he had it coming for him, because he came for your girl. But yeah, y'all, this is the finished look. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And y'all, let me know about similar situations y'all had with unprofessional managers. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all in my next video. Peace.